Palace of Mysore is a historical palace situated in the city of Mysore in Karnataka, southern India. It is the official residence and seat of the Wodeyars, the Maharajas of Mysore, the former royal family of Mysore, which ruled the princely state of Mysore from 1399 to 1950. The palace also houses two durbar halls and incorporates a mesmerizing and gigantic array of courtyards, gardens, and buildings. The palace is located in the central region of Inner Mysore, facing the Chamundi Hills eastward. Mysore is commonly described as the city of palaces, for there are about 7 palaces inclusive of this. However, the term Mysore Palace refers specifically to the one within the old fort. Mysore Palace is now one of the most famous tourist attractions in India, after the Taj Mahal, and has more than 3 million visitors annually. History: King Yajuraya first built a palace inside the old fort in Mysore in the 14th century, which was demolished and constructed multiple times. The Regent of Mysore, Her Royal Majesty Maharani Amba Vilas Palace, and her son, the Maharaja of Mysore His Highness Rajarshi Shri Sir Krishna Raja Wodeyar IV, commissioned the British architect Lord Henry Irwin to build a new palace to replace the old one which had been turned into ashes by fire. Meanwhile, the royal family stayed in the nearby Jagannath Palace. Construction of the current palace was commissioned in 1897, completed in 1912, and expanded around 1940 during the reign of His Highness Maharaja Shri Sir Jaichamarajendra Wodeyar, the last Maharaja of Mysore Kingdom. The construction was completed in 1912, but the fort continued to be beautified and its inhabitants were slowly moved to the newer extension built off the palace. Apart from the leonine Amba Vilas Palace and Jagannath Palace, the city has several other grand palaces like Jayalakshmi Vilas Mansion, Rajendra Vilas Mansion, Lalitha Mahal Palace, Laxmi Vilas Mansion, Amba Vilas Palace, and Krishna Rajendra Vilas Palace. Besides, there are buildings a century old or more, like Crowford Hall, Oriental Research Institute Building, Corporation Complex of Mysore City Corporation, etc. In all the above palaces, the royal family holds blocks held by the kings traditionally. However, the Bangalore Palace and Amba Vilas are entirely under the possession of the royal family. Despite the state government of Karnataka has its tourism department authorized the supervision Mysore Palace. Bangalore Palace remains entirely a private property of the princess. Architecture: the architectural style domes of the palace is commonly described as Indo-Saracenic, and blends Hindu, Muslim, Rajput, and Gothic styles of architecture. It is a 3-stone structure with marble domes and a 145 aft 5-story tower. The palace is surrounded by a large garden. The entrance gate and arch hold the emblem and coat of arms of the Kingdom of Mysore, around which is written the kingdom's motto in Sanskrit, Aaa currency Shah. The palace has 3 entrances, the east gate, the south entrance, and the west entrance. In addition, there are numerous secret tunnels from the palace cellar leading to Srirangapatna, other palaces, and confidential areas. The 3-story stone building of fine grey granite with deep pink marble domes has a facade with several expansive arches and 2 smaller ones flanking the central arch, which is supported by tall pillars. Above the central arch is a sculpture of Gajalakshmi, the goddess of wealth, prosperity, good luck and abundance with her elephants. There are 3 major exclusive temple buildings within the old fort, and about 18 inside the palace heart building. The Maharajas of Mysore were devotees of goddess Chamundi, which is why the place faces Chamundi Hills. Besides, head of the Parakala Mutt stays the spiritual Raguru as a reason of which the palace is built next to an even older Parakala Mutt headquarters. Special events: every autumn, the palace is the venue for the famous Mysore Dasra festival, during which leading artists perform on a stage set up in the palace grounds. On the 10th day of the festival Vijayadashami, a parade with caparisoned elephants and floats originate from the palace grounds. Dasra is the most extravagant festival of Mysore. The Dasra festival is celebrated in September and October of each year. The festival celebrates and commemorates the victory of the great goddess Durga, also called Chamundishwari, after she slew the demon Mahishasura, thereby symbolizing the triumph of good over evil according to Hindu mythology. This festival has been celebrated by the Wodeyars at Srirangapatna since 1610, and in Mysore with great pomp since 1799. The tradition is still carried on, although the scale of the celebrations has diminished. The Dasara festivities have become an integral part of the culture and life in Mysore. To celebrate this festival, the Palace of Mysore is illuminated with more than 96,000 lights during the 2-month period. Unique rooms, Mysore Palace is one of the most magnificent buildings. It is a sight not to be missed when it is illuminated on Sundays and festive occasions. The interior of the palace is equally worth a visit, for its spacious halls, paintings and architectural beauty. The palace is an excellent combination of Indo-Saracenic architecture. Amba Vilas, this spectacular room was used by the king as a hall for private audiences. Entry to this opulent hall is through an elegantly carved rosewood doorway inlaid with ivory that opens into a shrine dedicated to Ganesha. The central nave of the hall has ornately gilded columns, stained glass ceilings, decorative steel grilles, and chandeliers with fine floral motifs, mirrored in the Pietra Dura mosaic floor embellished with semi-precious stones. Gomthoti, entry to the palace is through the Gomthoti, or $1 unregistered trademark S Pavilion, a gallery of traditional dolls from the 19th and early 20th centuries. The pavilion also houses a fine collection of Indian and European sculpture and ceremonial objects, including a wooden elephant hodar decorated with 84 kilograms of gold. Kalyana Mandapa, the Kalyana Mandapa, or marriage hall, is a grand, octagonal-shaped pavilion with a multi-hued stained glass ceiling with peacock motifs arranged in geometrical patterns. The entire structure was wrought in Glasgow, Scotland. The floor also displays a peacock mosaic, designed with tiles from England. Oil paintings illustrating the royal procession and Dasara celebrations of bygone years are displayed on the walls. Temples, the palace complex includes 12 Hindu temples. The oldest was built in the 14th century, while the most recent was built in 1953. Some of the famous temples are, Someshvara Temple, dedicated to God Lord Shiva, Lakshmi Ramana Temple, dedicated to God Lord Vishnu, Shwetha Varahasami Temple, dedicated to Lord Varahasami, one of the 10 incarnations of Lord Vishnu, Sri Prasanna Krishna Swami Temple, Sri Bhuvaneshwari Temple, Kodi Samshwara Swami Temple, Sri Gayatri Temple, Sri Trineshwara Temple. Attractions, the palace houses several rooms of importance. These include, an audience chamber which was the hall for private audiences, where the king would confer with his ministers. It was also the chamber in which he gave audience to people deserving special attention, the Diwan-e-Aam, a public durbar where the general population could meet the king at scheduled times to submit petitions, the royal wedding hall, an armory which contains arms used by the members of the royal family. It contains lances, cutlasses, and other 14th-century weapons as well as those used in the early 20th century, such as pistols. Visitor information, the palace is 10 minutes away from City Central Railway Station, and also from the suburb bus stand. Right behind City Bus Stand, and 20 minutes from Mysore Domestic Airport. The domestic airport is directly connected to the international airports of Bangalore, Chennai, Thiruvananthapuram, Hyderabad, and Bombay. The city is connected through the state highway Sh17. Palace light illumination on Sundays and all public holidays between 7 and 7:45 in the evening. Sound and light programs are arranged on all days between 7 and 7:45, except on Sundays and public holidays. The scenes of every detail in and around the palace attract one's attention. However, the authorities have prohibited photography inside the main palace complex. The old fort of the palace stands open from morning 10 to night 8 and is free of cost. Nevertheless, entry to the palace buildings is between 11 in the morning and 3 post-noon, under tight security. 2 squads, one of police and another of paramilitary, stand all the eyes during the day, and 2 more during night. Children below 7 are free to enter the palace, while those between 7 and 12 are charged Rs 25 per head, and for adults, tickets are available for Rs 40. price of admission for foreign tourists is 200 Indian rupees. Footwear are to be removed before entering the palace complexes. See also, Palaces of Mysore, Lakshmi Niwas Palace in Bikaner, Rajasthan, New Palace, Kolhapur of the Bansal Chhatrapatis, Vilas Mahal, Gwalior of the Scindias, Rawada, Indore of the Hokers, Shaniwada, Pune of the Peshwas, Thanjavur Maratha Palace of the Bansals. References. External links, official virtual tour website of Mysore Palace, Mysore Palace, official Mysore Dasra website, Palaces of Mysore, Mysore Palace lighting.